Campaign 2018 is underway. For thebaynet.com, I'm Marty Madden. Today we're going to speak with one of the candidates running for the state senate in District 27. That includes portions of Prince George's County and northern Calvert County. Jesse Peed. Jesse, you've run before. What did you learn from your last experience running?
The harder you work, the more votes you get, pretty much.
Okay.
And also, we do part of Charles County, too.
Okay, that's true. Very good. This man has done his homework. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm a Maryland boy, served in the United States Army. Run a pool business for the last 32 years, been married for 34 years, have 4 children. Maryland's my home. I was born and raised here. I guess that's the reason why I'm running again. I ran the first time also is because I care about my state. I was born and raised here. I kind of want to end up here when I'm at the end. And right now, our government seems to have a spending problem, I would call it, and a tax problem because they keep running my friends and my neighbors out of my state. So the main thing, those are my main issues would be to cut spending and to make it so that, our retirees can stick around.
Okay. What are we spending money on that we should hold back on?
One of the things I think we spend money on, but I'd have to do an audit on it, would be the school system, because it seems like, I hate to say this, but I don't understand this means by which we continue to reward people for doing a lousy job. And the only answer they seem to come up with is spend more money on it. Now, I haven't got anything against schools, but I think it should be looked at.
Maryland, over the last couple of years, has also become a venue for gambling. There are gaming casinos, we have slots, and surprise, now we even have table games, which weren't part of the equation before. Are we, with that revenue being realized, are we using it wisely?
As far as I can tell, no, because nobody will tell us what they're actually using it for. Okay. Instead, we're going to use it on schools. I also remember a certain senator that said once he got gambling in, he'd retire.
Okay.
And I don't remember him retiring, which would be nice to see.
Let's talk about the issue of medical marijuana. That could be potentially a money maker, a revenue maker for the state. It's controversial in that the federal government still considers it to be a dangerous drug. What are your views on medical marijuana?
I'm more into states' rights. I think the federal government probably should leave it alone unless they could prove it's heroin. I mean, has medical uses. It also has many other uses. Like we were talking earlier about hemp, you can make cloth out of it, you can make paper out of it. It has a lot of different uses. I think it would be great for the farming community of Prince George's County, especially, or Southern Maryland. I mean, we lost our tobacco, so I think we need something to replace it. That would be a good start.
Do you have any concerns about the process they use to determine who would get licenses for growing the plant, processing it, and distributing it?
Well, I always seem to think it's bad when they pick winners and losers. I think you ought to open the market up just like anything else. It's a free market system. So why would you, as long as you can keep track of it, why should you tell this farmer he can grow it, but tell this farmer he can't grow it?
We'll go back to education. Are your concerns there, are they just limited to the secondary education? Do you have any concerns about the university system in Maryland?
Well, my biggest concern right now is it seems that for some odd reason Maryland has decided that the way to go is to push everybody to college. I think that there's a lot of different ways that people can get a really good job. I mean, trade schools are what they used to call trade schools. I have 2 sons that are both electricians, and they went into the electrical union. When they're finished and done, they owe nothing. They're not going to be burdened with student debt. As a matter of fact, it's completely paid for them. My one son goes once every 2 weeks, and they pay him while he's in school. And when he's done, he'll be making about $47 an hour. And it's always nice that it's always nice when you finish up your schooling, you have a job to go to. I sometimes wonder in our school systems what our counselors are telling our students of what they should take and what they don't take, because a lot of the times you see after 4 years of college they can't get a job because Their major is anthropology and archaeology. I have a friend of mine that has a 4-year degree in that, and he actually deals cards at Maryland Live because he can't get a job.
Let's talk about economic development. Governor Hogan, when he took office, declared Maryland open for business. Have you seen any improvement over the last 4 years?
Personally, I run a small business. I've seen some improvement. I've seen a lot of businesses that are still leaving, though. I have a friend of mine that lives up the street that moved his trucking company out of Maryland and moved to Virginia. We're the third highest state in the nation, and that's always bad on small business. It's also bad on just the average citizen that has to pay those taxes.
Is regulation a problem as well?
Regulation in every business is a problem. Some more, so than others, of course. Mine is transportation because I transport a lot of chemicals. So there's always regulations on that particular aspect. And anytime that you have to deal with regulations, you're talking costs, time, and money. It's just the way it is. And some of them are just bizarre. You don't even know what the regulation is for, and I don't think they know what it's for.
So you've been getting around the district, I guess, since declaring your candidacy, and of course you go back to that experience back in 2014 when you first ran. What are you hearing from people as you walk the campaign trail?
Well, the biggest issue in Prince George's County, of course, is education, because I mean we're graduating. Well, our graduation rate is extremely low, and the ones that are graduating don't really have the means by which to really get a job. It's that simple. There are other issues too. In Calvert County, I think the biggest issue they're talking about now is health care, which I think is a scare for everybody. I personally believe in free market system. I would think it would be better to get the government out of health care and move it into the private sector and allow people to buy insurance across state lines and also buy what they want. Before they came up with the last health care plan, I had what I call a catastrophic plan. So I paid for my doctor's care, and then if I got sick or went to the hospital, then they covered that.
Okay. The subject of education can also dovetail into a discussion about public safety, because right now the hottest issue in public education, might be safety. People are concerned about that. Has the state done enough to help the jurisdictions remedy the problem, to make the schools safer, to make them invulnerable from an active shooter?
I don't know if you could ever make them invulnerable, but I don't think they've done enough to make it so that people can't get into school. They need to start getting one entrance, exits easy. Keep an eye on your students. I mean, the teachers should know your students better than anybody. They're the people that with them every day, and their parents. But it seems to be a phenomenon I don't understand completely, because when I was younger, we never had anything like this. The one in Columbine seemed to have been a catalyst for it. I don't know if it's people that want to copycat it. I think right now, I think they need to harden our schools, though, to make it so that the people can't get in to shoot our kids. I have grandchildren. My children are grown and out of school, but I do have grandchildren that are moving into the school systems and in Texas and in this state too. So I certainly wouldn't want to come home one day and find out one of my children had been shot or my grandchildren had been shot, that's for sure. I don't think it's a gun problem, though. I think it's other problems. Taking guns isn't going to stop it. And I don't think this society that we have, from where we started from and where we are, I don't think it's going to be something that would be very easy to do, and I don't think it would be the proper thing to do either.
What would you like to tell the voters out there in conclusion about your campaign?
Well, my campaign really basically boils down to I'm just a small guy, that I'm the regular average citizen. I really want to see, like I said, I want to see spending cuts. I want the budget to be actually balanced rather than this little shell game they keep playing on us. And the reason I think it's important for us is because we need to lower taxes and keep our citizens. I'm tired of watching my friends and my family leave. I mean, I know that the tax burden that I pay, because recently my mother-in-law passed away, so I inherited a piece of property from her. My grandmother passed away, so I also inherited a piece of property from her. And right now it's a struggle to keep the property that I've inherited, that was been in my family for that many years, simply because of the tax burden that we had to pay on it. You know, right now, it's probably, my tax burden is running 50% plus on what I earn. And I think that's a little bit much.
Okay.
And I would like to help everybody else with the same things.
His name is Jesse Peed. He's running for State Senate in District 27. And don't forget, the primary is coming up June 26th. There's also early voting. It's very important for voters out there not to take a pass on the primary election this year. There's too much at stake in the primaries. So we urge all of our readers and viewers to make plans to go to the polls and cast your ballot in the primary election. Jesse Peed, thank you for coming before our cameras and stating your case. For thebayonet.com, I'm Marty Madden.